Hey, Mike Filipov here from PracticeGuitarNow.com. In this video, I'll show you how to control your picking hand as you play at faster tempos, and more importantly, how to articulate every single note you play with power and clarity without tying up your fretting hand with lots of unnecessary tension in the process. To get the most from this video, I recommend watching an earlier video I did on a quick tension control tip that went over how to anchor a feeling of perfect relaxation in your fretting hand when you practice. So if you haven't seen that video yet, check it out, click the link that's on the screen right now, and then come back here where I can show you how we're going to build upon that concept to the next level to train control over your picking hand. Okay, for this drill, you're going to need a metronome, and you're going to need to unplug your guitar. That's right, you're going to play without an amp for this practice exercise. And the reason why you play without an amp versus playing with distortion or even playing with a clean tone is because you must hear acoustically how loud and how articulate every note is as you pick it. Select an exercise you're going to practice for this drill, and this can be any exercise you want, any scale sequence, or any lick, as long as you have to pick every single note of the exercise. So don't select anything that contains hammer-ons or pull-ups. Now after you select the exercise, set the metronome tempo to about 60 to 70% of your maximum speed with that exercise. Maximum speed is the tempo where you can just barely nail the exercise one or two times. So find that tempo first, the maximum speed, and then calculate 60 to 70% of that. Next, go through the anchoring process with your fretting hand to refresh what it feels like to play with perfect relaxation in your fretting hand. If you don't understand what anchoring means, check out the video I mentioned earlier that takes you through that process and shows you exactly what to do, so you can go through this step of the process before continuing. After you've gone through the anchoring process, here's what you do. Play the exercise once to the metronome at the 60 to 70% of your maximum speed you found earlier, and pick the notes very, very softly. The softest articulation you can possibly get away with and still have the notes be audible. Now, still make sure that the hands are in sync and the notes are clean and you're playing in time, but make the articulation as soft as possible. This is intentional. You do that on purpose. After you finish playing the exercise once, you play it again at the same tempo, but now pick with medium articulation. So imagine your picking hand like a volume knob. And the first time through the exercise, your volume knob is at about 10%, and then the second time through, it's about 50%. And after you've played it the second time through it, medium articulation, you crank it all the way up to 100, and your third repetition of the exercise is going to be with maximum articulation possible, the loudest you can possibly do. Pick the strings as hard as possible. So here's a demonstration. I'm going to play the exercise at about 60 to 65% of my maximum speed. I'm going to play it once through, very softly, with barely audible picking articulation. Then second time through at medium level articulation. Third time through with near maximum power. And then I'm going to repeat that several times. Here we go. So that's the process. You play the exercise once through with barely audible articulation, then with medium level articulation, then with full power articulation, then go back down to barely audible, mid-level, full power, barely audible, mid-level, full power, and continue that cycle for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Now here is where it becomes very, very interesting, and here's where you can test how well you have mastered tension control in your guitar playing. If you notice, when you go back from full power articulation to barely audible articulation, that your fretting hand relaxes at the same time as your picking hand begins to play softer, it means your fretting hand was more tense than necessary when you were picking at full power. And this is incorrect, because the amount of tension in your fretting hand needs to be completely independent from the amount of tension or power that is being used to articulate the notes with your picking hand. This is why you've gone through the anchoring process earlier to establish what it should feel like to play notes with the fretting hand with optimum amount of tension, no more and no less than necessary. And the fact that your picking hand has to pick the notes softer or harder should make no difference whatsoever in how relaxed your fretting hand feels. So if you find that you're not able to separate both hands and use independent amount of tension in your fretting hand, regardless of how much power is used in your picking hand, this is something you need to practice. You need to master this hand independence element of your technique so that you can pick the notes with as much power as necessary without your fretting hand becoming tense and tired in the process. So how do you do this? What should you do if you struggle to keep your hands independent in the way I just described? Well, the simple answer for the short term is to simply slow down the metronome. If you struggle to do this at 60% of your top speed, do it at 50 or at 40 or even slower if you must. However, the best long-term solution is to master the technical fundamentals of your picking hand biomechanics, fretting hand biomechanics, how to combine the two, and learning what to actually focus on when you practice all your guitar technique exercises, licks and songs and solos, so that you consistently are training perfect technique every single minute of your practice time without any time being wasted in the process. And this is exactly what I train guitarists to do in my rapid fire guitar practice training course. I show you what the fundamentals are, how to master them, and more importantly, I take you through the entire process of mastering them yourself. So you learn exactly what to pay attention to, what to focus on, what to look for, what to listen for every single minute that you practice, so that your practicing becomes very, very effective, and you learn how to train yourself when you practice, which is ultimately the most important skill because it allows you to be in control of your own progress. Click the link on the screen right now to learn more about my rapid fire guitar practice training course. And in the meantime, apply the strategy in this video to your own playing and practicing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already a subscriber. Have fun practicing, and I'll see you next time.